Why is everyone underrating DR Congo? How? 21st. Oh, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we already reacted to the CBS Sports World Cup Power Rankings, and those rankings were absolutely horrible. But in today's video, we are going to be reacting to The Athletic. Guys, I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited because that CBS Sports Power Ranking was horrible. We saw Colombia in 28th place. We saw DR Congo as the third worst team competing in the World Cup. But I've heard so much bad things about this Athletic World Cup Power Ranking. So obviously we're going to react to it. As always, remember to leave your power rankings in the comments down below. And obviously, if you do enjoy all this World Cup content, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to help me hit 8,000 subscribers. But without further ado, we are going to be reacting to The Athletic. Starting at 48th place, we have Haiti, and I feel like this is not the worst ranking. In my opinion, Curaçao probably has to be last place, but Haiti, I don't mind it. Their second time in the World Cup, they're probably in the bottom three. Moving on to 47th, we have Curaçao. This is fair enough. Curaçao, 47th, 48th. I think these two rankings are fair enough. Moving on to 46th, Iraq. Already Iraq. I think a little bit low for Iraq, guys. I personally would have Iraq maybe a little bit higher than this. Moving on to 45th, we have Norway. No way. There is no way. Uzbekistan in 45th place. Guys, this is low. This is low. And to be honest, originally, I maybe didn't know too much about Uzbekistan. I wasn't familiar with Uzbekistan's game. I didn't think they were that good of a team. But upon doing a little bit more research, upon watching some of their recent friendly games, seeing some of their recent results, Uzbekistan are a pretty good team. And for me, I think they deserve to be in the high 30s, maybe 38, 39, but 45th place is way too low. Moving on to 44th, we have Cape Verde. Okay. Cape Verde in 44th is not too bad. You know, they have a few decent attackers, but at the end of the day, they're probably not going to make it too far in this World Cup. But I'm waiting to see teams like Saudi Arabia, teams like Qatar. They better not be too high, because in the last ranking, the CBS Sports one, we had them in the high 30s, in the low 30s. That's way too high. But let's go on to 43. Bro. There's no way. Why is everyone underrating DR Congo? 43rd place in The Athletic. And then the other one, what did they rank them? 46th. Y'all don't get it, man. Y'all don't get it. DR Congo is good. Guys, these people don't understand. DR Congo are a good team. They have Mbemba at the back. They have Sadiki. They have some great attackers. They have Cedric Bakambu. They have Wan-Bissaka. They have some really, really talented players. They have Johan Wissa. They have some amazing players, Congo, across the whole pitch. Definitely they should be in the 30s. This is crazy. I can't believe this. Moving into 42nd, Bosnia and Herzegovina. I feel like this is also low. Guys, where the fuck is Qatar? And Saudi Arabia? Nah. Bosnia, the team that just beat Italy, in 42nd place. Come on, man. Come on. Moving into 41st, we have Jordan. I still feel like this is a little bit low. I still feel like there's much worse teams than Jordan. Jordan can score goals. Guys, Jordan made it to the final of the last Asian Cup. They made it very, very far in the Arab Cup. Jordan have done very, very good in recent competitions. This is way too low. This is crazy. New Zealand. Okay, I don't know how New Zealand is this high. How are they this high? Doesn't make sense to me. New Zealand are not 40. They're not this good. Not at all. I would put New Zealand at 45th, 44th. Like, no disrespect, but they are one of the lower ranking teams in this World Cup. Moving on to 39th, we have Czech Republic. This isn't too bad. Czech Republic, I feel like a lot of people didn't expect to make it to this World Cup. And to be fair to them, in the playoffs, they were very, very good, right? They got that win on penalties against Ireland, and then obviously they went ahead and beat Denmark, who a lot of people had to advance to the World Cup. So fair play to Czech Republic, but I don't think they deserve to be that much higher than this. But moving on to 38th place. Oh my gosh, now we have Qatar. Now we have Qatar in 38th place. This is unreal. This is unreal. What's with all this hype about Qatar? Why do people think they're going to have such a good World Cup? Why does CBS Sports have Qatar in the low 30s, and even The Athletic has them in what? 38th. 38th. Nah. I don't care what you say about Akram Afif. Yes, great player, but he is their only good player. You can talk about how Qatar has been winning Asian Cups and doing good domestically. Bro, do you remember Qatar at the last World Cup? I would be surprised if Qatar get 1 point in this World Cup. I'm sorry to anyone that's from Qatar. I don't mean to disrespect, but for me, I'll put Qatar at least in 43, maybe 44th. I don't think they deserve to be that much higher than that. Moving on to 37th, we have, stupid ads, South Africa. South Africa, I feel like this is fair for South Africa. In the high 30s is probably fair. In the recent international break, South Africa were very poor. They were very, very poor. They didn't get good results. And defensively, there's a lot of questions to be asked. Yes, they have some decent players in the midfield, in the attack. Players like Mbokazi. They have obviously Foster in the attack. They have a few good players. But I don't think South Africa deserves to go higher than 37th. Let's see who's in 36th. Tunisia. Tunisia on 36. I feel like this is fair. They should probably be in the high 30s. Between 35 to 39 is probably fair. They haven't been good in recent competitions. In the AFCON, they were a little bit disappointing. So I'm not mad at this. I'm not too mad at this. 35th, Scotland with Scott McTominay. Maybe a little bit low. Guys, where on earth is Saudi Arabia? Where is Saudi Arabia? Where on earth is Saudi Arabia? Like, yeah, they beat Argentina in the last World Cup. But we're already at 35 and I still haven't seen them. In the CBS Sports list, they were in what? 33? 30? It's crazy. It's crazy. They better come up soon because this will be a disgrace if not. Moving on to 34, Panama. Panama, this is a fair ranking. In the low to mid 30s is probably fair. You know, they're a decent CONCACAF team, but I don't think they deserve to be that much better than this ranking, in my personal opinion. Moving on to 33, we have Sweden. Guys, this is a fair ranking for Sweden. I don't care what anybody says. In the CBS Sports ranking, they had Sweden in 21st, I think. 21st or 22nd place. Sweden, the team who didn't even win a single World Cup qualifying match. They lost every single one. The only reason why they're even here is due to the playoffs. So, me personally, I don't think Sweden should go higher than 33rd place. Moving on to 32nd. Now we see Saudi Arabia. Now we see Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is almost in the top 30. Hell no. Hell no. Way too high for me. Way too high for me. In my opinion, where would I put Saudi Arabia? I would put Saudi Arabia right where Bosnia is. 42nd place. I don't think they deserve to be higher than that. Just because they beat Argentina last World Cup, sure, incredible result. But does that warrant them being in 32nd place? Hell no. Way too high for my opinion. Way too high. And at the end of this video, I'm going to be ranking which World Cup power ranking is worse between The Athletic and CBS Sports. So far, it's a pretty close tie. But we're going to have to see how the rest of this list plays out. So moving on to 31st place, Paraguay. This is not too bad. Paraguay are a decent team. I don't think they are any higher than 30th. I feel like they are probably the worst South American team. But in saying that, they're still not a bad team. So I'm not too mad at this ranking. Moving on to 30th, we have Canada. Guys, this is actually a respectable ranking. And I'm saying that as a Canadian. I'm from Canada. I live in Canada. Guys, Canada is not higher than 30th place. In the last ranking, they put Canada in, I think, 22nd or 23rd. That is crazy. Canada are not that high. For me, 30th place is actually a good ranking for Canada. But moving on to the top 30, in 29 we have Austria. This is disrespectful. This is disrespectful. Austria should be in like maybe almost in the top 20s, maybe 21, 22. Did you see Austria in the last international break? They were insane. They smoked Ghana by like, what, 4 or 5 goals. They got a great 1-0 win against South Korea. They were incredible. So what warrants them being in almost 30th place? They're being managed by Ralf Rangnick, who's a very good manager. They have some very, very good players. I think this is very, very disrespectful for Austria. Moving on to 28th place, we have Iran. Not too bad for Iran. I do feel like Iran maybe aren't as good as they've been in previous years. And obviously with all the stuff that's going on, it's going to be a little, they're still not certain their place in the World Cup. So 28th, I'm not too mad at. Maybe a little bit low, but not too bad. Moving on to 27th place, Algeria. Okay, this is a more fair ranking for Algeria. I think Algeria are a decent team. In the CBS Sports ranking, they were in 38th place. They had Algeria in 38th place. Hell no. That is way too low. 27th place is much more respectable. Obviously, they are being managed by Pektovic. They have some very good players in the attack. Obviously, if you look at one of their main strikers, Amoura, he didn't score in the AFCON, but they still have players like Maza. They have Mahrez. They have some really, really strong players. Guidi, he scored in their 7-0 victory against Guatemala, which was an amazing win for Algeria. So I think Algeria in 27th isn't too bad. I'll put them around 25, 26, 27, somewhere around there. So I don't think this is too bad. 26, we have Ghana. This is bad. This is horrible. How is Ghana ahead of Algeria? Ghana didn't even make it to the AFCON. They didn't even make it in the 2025 AFCON. And you're going to have Ghana ahead of Algeria? Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. Ghana aren't a bad team. But first of all, in recent games, they were horrible. They got smoked in both games that they played. Then they went and fired their manager just a bit over 50 days before the World Cup. Guys, Ghana are in the mud. I don't know how they're going to perform in this World Cup, but for me, I think they would finish last place in their group. And they're in the same group as Panama. And with Panama being ranked out, what were Panama, 34 or 35? 34. I don't think Ghana should be higher than that. I don't think Ghana should be higher than that. No disrespect, but that's a little bit too high in my opinion. But moving into the top 25, we have Australia. This is a little bit too high for Australia in my opinion. Yes, Australia have in these international competitions, in these World Cups, if we remember the last World Cup, they always find a way to get the job done. Do I think they have the best players? Not really. They have a few good youngsters, to be fair, but they don't have the best players. But Australia in the World Cup, in these international competitions, they always find ways to get it done. They have a more defensive style of play. They're great on the counterattack. So Australia, they're a decent team. I do think 25 is a little bit high for them. I'm thinking more in the high 20s, maybe the low 30s, but it's not too bad. For me, I would put them in the low 30s. I'll put them around 32, 33. Maybe it's a bit high. It's a bit high. 25 is a bit high. 25 is a little bit ridiculous. I don't think they're that good. But 24, Turkey. I think this is a little bit low for Turkey. I think Turkey are much better than 24th place. Guys, Turkey are a really, really good team. Look at those 4 players they have in the attack. With Aktürkoğlu playing in the striker position. Then they have Yilmaz and Yildiz on the wings. And then they have Arda Güler playing in that attacking midfield position. These are 4 world-class, incredible players, especially Arda Güler and Kenan Yildiz. Incredible players. Turkey has probably a top 15, maybe even better attack in this World Cup. So I personally don't think they can beat 24th place. Yes, defensively they have a few problems, but this is way, way too low for Turkey. And where's South Korea? We still haven't seen South Korea. I don't see any way that South Korea should be ahead of Turkey. Moving into 24th, we have 23rd, we have United States. Okay, this is not too bad of a ranking, guys. This is actually not too bad of a ranking. I'm surprised. I thought everyone was shitting on The Athletic. It's actually not too bad. I mean, obviously there's some stinkers in here. But if we remember the CBS Sports ranking that we reacted to about a week ago, guys, they put USA in 11th place. They put USA ahead of Belgium after Belgium just beat USA in the last international break 5-2. How can you do that? How can you do that? At least in this ranking, they have USA in 23rd, which I think is fair enough for USA. Moving on to 22nd place, we have Switzerland. This is too low, guys. This is way too low. I don't know what it is with people underrating Switzerland. The last list also underrated Switzerland. How on earth can you tell me that South Korea is better than Switzerland? It should be higher. They should be higher. 21st. Oh, okay. 21st, Japan. I'm out. There is no way. How is Japan in 21st place? How? It doesn't make sense. This literally frustrates me. First of all, we haven't seen South Korea yet. So you are telling me that South Korea is better than Japan? In what world? In what world is South Korea better than Japan at this current moment in time? And do you not remember what Japan did in their recent international break? Beating England as the first Asian team to ever beat England at Wembley Stadium. Beating Scotland right after. Japan are loaded with players playing in the top 5 leagues. A lot of them playing in the Bundesliga. Look at Ueda, their striker. He's scoring almost every single game in the Bundesliga. Even players like Don, even Kamada in the midfield. They have so many top level players. Japan is at least a top 15 team. If not, maybe even 14th, maybe even 13th. Some people may even put him in the top 10, and I wouldn't be mad at that. 21 is crazy. Moving on to 20th, we have Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire. This is a little bit high for me. Ivory Coast are a good team, and I love how they've been showing a lot of promise in the attack. Their attack has been really good recently, but I think 20th place is a bit too high. For me, maybe in the mid-20s is a little bit more fair. But moving on to 19th place, we have Norway. Whoa. This is too low. This is too low for Norway. And I remember in the CBS Sports ranking, they put Norway at 7th. 7th is too high. 19th is too low. For me, a sweet spot for Norway is probably 13th to 15th. 14th. For me, 14th is perfect for Norway. They don't deserve to be in the top 10, but 19th, that's a bit low. That's a little bit low. But moving on, we have Mexico in 18th place. This is fair. For me, Mexico are the better of the host nations. I think they're better than the US. I think they're better than Canada. Even though some of their recent head-to-heads may not show that, I still think that Mexico are probably the best team out of these three. So I don't think Mexico in 18th place is that bad. Moving on to 17th place, we have Ecuador. Ecuador actually had a really good international break. We saw them get a great result against Netherlands and a great result against Morocco, albeit they were draws. And we know Ecuador, they could draw every single game. They have one of the best defenses in the world, and in the attack, they can score a goal and they can park the bus for the rest of the game. Moving on to 16th, we have oh no. I didn't even finish what I was going to say. South Korea in 16th place. You think South Korea are the 16th best team in the World Cup? After the international break that they just had. 16th. Nah. Guys, honestly, this list wasn't bad at the start. But as we go on, since we've reached the top 25, it's gotten infinitely worse. If you look at the CBS Sports, they had a lot of bad choices throughout the whole list. But this list, as we keep getting on, it's getting worse and worse and worse. And this may be the worst. South Korea just had a poor international break, and you rank them as the best Asian team. Hell no. Moving on to the top 15. Oh no. No. Oh, this has gotten so bad. This has gone downhill so fast. Egypt in 15th place. There is no way. You can look at Egypt's recent results. Yes, they got a great win against Saudi Arabia. First of all, that's Saudi Arabia. Second of all, yes, again, they got a good result against Spain, which was a very good game. Getting a draw against Spain is incredible. But if you compare Egypt to some of these other African nations, let's compare Egypt with Ivory Coast. Let's look at young talent. Who has the better young talent? Ivory Coast. Who has the better attackers? In my opinion, I would say Ivory Coast. Egypt, yes, they have Salah. Salah has not been good this season. They have Mahmoud. He hasn't been getting that much game time. For me, Ivory Coast have the better attackers. Who has the better midfielders? I would go with Ivory Coast. Who has the better defenders? I would go with Ivory Coast. Who plays the better football? For me, Ivory Coast. I don't think Egypt should be above Ivory Coast. I think Egypt in the mid-20s is fair, but 15th is crazy. That's way, way too high. Moving on to 14th. Oh, man. In the CBS Sports ranking, they had Senegal in 16th place. And in this ranking, they put Senegal at 14th place. Guys, this is the AFCON winners we're talking about here. The team that won the 2025 AFCON. In 14th? That's too low. That's way too low. I said it in my last video and I'll say it again. I think Senegal could arguably be above Morocco. I think Senegal are a really, really strong team. I would put them around 10th, maybe 11th, but 14th is a little bit low. Moving on to 13th, they have Belgium. I'm not too mad at this. I personally don't think that Belgium are in the top 10 anymore. I would think they're just outside the top 10. I think Belgium and Senegal are very similar in terms of ranking, probably both around 10, 11, 12, around that range. Moving on to 12, Uruguay. This is too high for me. This is way too high for me. Uruguay under Bielsa just don't look that good. They just simply don't look that good. We saw them lose 5-1 against USA. Guys, what? I can't even say their name. Uruguay conceded 5 goals against the US. And you're putting them in 12th place? You're putting Uruguay in 12th place when they conceded 5 goals to the US. And they're ahead of Belgium, who scored 5 goals against the US. Make it make sense. Just make it make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. Uruguay, for me, in the high teens, maybe even in the 20s. They may be demoted to the 20s. Under Bielsa, I just don't think they play good enough football. Yes, obviously in the recent international break, they got a great draw against England. But other than that, I don't think anything warrants them being this high. Moving on to 11th, we have Morocco. This isn't a bad ranking for Morocco, but considering that Senegal and Belgium are both a few rankings below, I think it's a little bit high. Me personally, I would have Morocco in 13th, I would have Morocco in 12th, Senegal in 11th, and Belgium in 10th. Uruguay, kick them out, kick them to the curb, kick them out of the top 20. And yeah, that would be my 12th, 11th, and 10th. But moving on to 10th, we have Croatia. This is a fair ranking for Croatia. I would say anywhere in the range from 8 to 10 is fair for Croatia. They have some really good players, and a lot of people always talk about them having an aging squad. Guys, they have some great young talent. So many people don't realize the young talent that Croatia have. They have still a very, very strong team. Moving on to 9th, we have Colombia. See, this is too high, in my opinion, for Colombia. This is too high. Guys, let me be honest here. Colombia are a strong team. They have some very strong players. Players like Lerma and Richard Rios in the midfield. In the attack, they have Arias, they have Luis Diaz, they have obviously still James Rodriguez, who always seems to perform with the Colombia top on, and they have Luis Suarez at the striker position, who has scored loads of goals for Sporting. But recently, I don't think Colombia have been at their best, especially in the last international break. They were poor in both games they played. We saw them lose against Croatia because they weren't clinical enough in the attack. And then we saw them lose against France's B team. France's B team! So, with that being said, I think Colombia are a good team, but I don't think they're this high. For me, I would put Colombia maybe just behind the likes of Belgium. If Belgium came up against Colombia, I think Belgium would beat Colombia. Moving on to 8th place, we have Germany. Okay, that's not too bad. I'm okay with this. For me, Germany, anywhere from 6 to 9, I think is fair for Germany. Moving on to 7th place, Portugal in 7th place. That's a little bit low, no? I think that's a little bit low. Portugal won the 2025 Nations League. They have a very, very, very strong team. Yes, in the international break, in that game against Mexico, I will say they were poor. In the attack, they didn't create a lot of chances at all. And there was actually chances for Mexico to beat Portugal in that game. But Portugal are still a top 5 team in the world. Moving on to 6th place, we have England. I wonder who's in the top. We haven't seen Netherlands yet. The Netherlands, wow. So England in 6th and Netherlands in 5th. They must have some bias towards Netherlands. I don't think Netherlands is that high. For me, I would put Netherlands behind Germany. So I would put Netherlands in 8th place, Germany in 7th place, Portugal maybe in 6th, and then England maybe in 5th. England in 6th, I think they deserve to be a little bit higher than that. Netherlands, I think, is a little bit too high. Yes, they have some good players, but the problem for me with Netherlands is that a lot of their defenders haven't been performing in their domestic leagues this season. This is too high for Netherlands. But moving into 4th place, we have Brazil. Brazil in 4th place, I don't think it's too bad. I would say Brazil could be anywhere from 4th to 6th, and I wouldn't be mad at it. And moving into the top 3, we have France in 3rd, Argentina in 2nd, and Spain in 1st place. I mean, these 3 are obviously the top 3. France, Argentina, and Spain. If you don't have these 3 teams in your top 3, there's something wrong with your list. But for me, I would put Argentina in 3rd place. I personally don't think they can replicate what they did in the last World Cup. They're still a great team. They're still in the top 3, but I would move them down to 3rd place. And then between France and Spain, I've said it multiple times, it's a toss-up. It could be France in 1st, Spain in 2nd. It could be Spain in 1st, France in 2nd. It's a toss-up. It could go either way. But that is the end of this ranking. Now, the moment of truth. We ranked the CBS Sports ranking, and now we have ranked The Athletic. A lot of people have been shitting on The Athletic, but in my honest opinion, I would give this ranking a higher rating than the CBS Sports. I think The Athletic Power Rankings was better than the CBS Sports Power Rankings. If you guys haven't seen my video where I reacted to the CBS Sports ranking, go check it out, because if you thought The Athletic was bad, they're worse. They're 100% worse. But if I have to give The Athletic Power Rankings a rating on a scale from 1 to 10, I'd give them a 5.2. CBS Sports, I would give them a 3.9. So that's the end of this video. That was my reaction to the Athletic World Cup power ranking. I know a lot of you guys enjoyed my last power ranking reaction video. So if you want to see more, I know many different websites release their power rankings, and realistically, they're probably all pretty trash. So if you want to see me react to more power rankings, remember to leave a comment down below. And obviously, if you've been enjoying all the Champions League, Europa League, World Cup content, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.